Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's see, it is Wednesday, the equinox. I think it was the full moon yesterday in Pisces. So, welcome. I hope everyone is having a good week so far, whatever that means, right? I just wanted to come on and let you know that I just wrapped up week 2 of the power of self-awareness. It's a 3-part workshop, and this today we looked at befriending all the players on the stage, and I just wanted to give you a couple highlights because it was juicy and it was good. And you know, everyone is, in their reality, doing their best to make sense of what's unfolding, and trying to determine, on what they're going to base their reality on, and make the best decisions for themselves. And it can be challenging when there is a lot of fear currents swirling around us with uncertainty, right? So uncertainty can create fear. But on the flip side of that, uncertainty creates possibility, right, for what hasn't existed before. So it just depends on where you stand and your perspective. Is it going to be possibility, like open to vast possibility, or is it going to be fear and restriction? And this is our choice every moment and every day. And there's a tendency to go out and focus on what's wrong with the world, and to fixate on it, and create arguments and judgments about why people should believe this and why people should believe that. And at the end of the day, if we could take that energy and refocus it to our own internal landscape, and how open and free we are to live in each moment, and then that energy ripples out and affects the people around us. Although you can't necessarily see it, doesn't mean that it's not happening. And so this week in the workshop, we were talking about the construction of consciousness. And so we have this, we have our physical body, we have our emotional body, we have our mental body, and we have our energetic or spiritual body. And it doesn't, every world tradition has a different way and a different vocabulary of speaking about the dynamic layers of consciousness. So depending on what tradition you're in will determine your vocabulary. But every world tradition acknowledges that there's different levels of being. But the ego, it really focuses on the mental construction of reality. And it's like black or white, which is duality, or opposition, which is zeros and ones. And it's very linear. And yesterday, as I mentioned, is like when you take off that lens, like that very restricted spectrum of perception, and this is like Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. It's the yogis would have said, I don't think, therefore I am. And that was their way of acknowledging that there's other valid layers of our awareness. And when we just focus on the mental one, we're really restricting ourselves from the full spectrum of consciousness. So, for example, your experience of living in a body, the sensations there, our information, our messages, and it's a different language with what the mind speaks. The mind speaks in thought and image, which is a vibration, an energetic vibration of a certain reality. The body is living in emotion, or energy in motion, so it's an animated form of energy. And this, the language of the body is emotion, but when the mind takes the emotion, it turns into feeling. And when emotion is turned into feeling, there is a layer of moral judgment placed on it. When the body is simply expressing its needs through reflecting its environment. But then you bring the mental body in, and it has conditioned beliefs about what it is to be angry, or the shadow emotions that most people aren't supposed to demonstrate, like jealousy or hate or anger, or there's an extensive list of these emotions. And so what happens when those emotions are repressed? They get shoved down under our consciousness. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they're not there and that they're not vibrating in our awareness and creating our reality. It just means that they're not in the light of our awareness. So this is the idea of, integrating awareness. So bringing light to the full expanse of our consciousness, not just what the mind's focus sees. And then we also have a level of energetic or spiritual being, which has been relegated to, certain categories of like church or religion. In actuality, it's just part of consciousness itself. And it's not particularly spiritual, it's just a certain experience of consciousness. And sometimes it's been devalued or minimized by the ego through, faith and belief as being, what do you call that when you're being unscientific, or what do they call that when you have a belief in something that people call superstition? Thank you. It's like superstition, and it's like it's dismissed as not being valuable. But we contain consciousness. It's functioning on many different levels, and if we're not aware, it's really hard for us to be empowered fully in our lives. Because as Carl Jung said, as I mentioned yesterday when I came on, what is not conscious, or what is not addressed internally, will show up outside, and we'll call it fate. And so we're like on this hamster wheel and we don't know how to get off. And this is can cause a sort of self-condemnation. Hey, how's it going? Of, self-blame, and like not knowing, like blaming yourself for not knowing any better. But it's like, how are you supposed to know if you never had access to the information? And so part of this workshop is making this information more available to people about how your consciousness is constructed and how you can bring all these pieces together and use them in a cooperative relationship to empower you, instead of like kicking yourself in the shin all the time. And so this is some really powerful work. And I just wanted to share it with you because that's really my purpose and my journey and my passion. And, I'm really, here to help people pierce the veil of consciousness. So instead of living in this really confined stream of what the ego mind says is available, to really, puncture that, pull back the lens, the veil, and see, just like, it reminds me of the story of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, right? So she goes on a journey, as you probably know, to find the wizard because she thinks he has something that she needs, which is her power, right? And she learns, of course, from Glinda the Good Witch that she always had the power within her. She just had to claim it. And then she discovers, hey, how's it going? I don't know who's here. I can't see you. I'm sorry. But say hi. Good to see you. But when she gets the slippers and she follows, like, there's no place like home, right? What does home symbolize besides safety and love and being held and being free and all of those things that we so treasure? And she realizes that she was home all the time. She was just asleep. And so our job is to wake ourselves up to the home that we already exist in. We already exist in it. It's just that when we're not using all of our faculties to the fullest extent, we cannot begin to perceive it because we do not have the ears or the eyes to see. We do not have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. And you've probably experienced this when you've been, I don't know, trying to explain something to someone and they just can't understand. And it's not because they don't like you or they don't love you. It's mostly because of their constructed view of reality won't allow for anything outside of it. And they're holding on to that because that's their idea of safety. And so you can see that playing out on the world stage, in lots of relations and, people trying to communicate to each other and not being heard and not being seen because it's outside of the realm of what's possible. And so I'm here to tell you it's all possible. And I'm not just being, like a Pollyanna and idealistic. It just depends on what level of reality that you want to function on and you want to resonate with and vibrate. And the more inclusive that perspective is, the more available for miracles and alternatives that the mind couldn't necessarily see but are still there. So I just wanted to stop by and say hi and check in on a Wednesday and share those little goodies with you and sending you lots of love, wherever you are, whatever you're going through. Of course, there's still time to register for the course. All the replays and the content are in the course area. We have one more week on September the 29th. So there's still time to catch up and participate if you'd like. I'm going to put the link in the description box if you're interested. And I'd love to hear from you. See what's going on. What obstacles or challenges are you facing? What are you celebrating in your life? Today I'm celebrating, which I forget to do, right? I wasn't raised or conditioned to celebrate my accomplishments and my growth and what I've been learning. And I'm feeling so proud of myself. And that was not something I was encouraged to ever feel, was to feel proud. And it wasn't conscious. All of this is unconscious. But today I'm feeling so proud of myself and the lessons that I've learned and the growth that I have experienced in my own personal self-healing journey in this life, and just feeling really grateful and a lot of gratitude for all the blessings that I have in my life. And there's always an opportunity to focus on what's not right or what's not working. But I'm even thankful for that because that helps me see where my growth curve is. What I need to forgive, what I need to let go, what I'm holding on to out of safety or a need to control. And my ego mind thinks it's going to set it free when actually it's just enslaving it even more. So it's all good. It's all possibility. Everything in your life is unfolding for your best and highest good all of the time. All right. I think I'll leave it there for now. I hope you guys have a real great rest of your week. I'll probably be stopping in 1 or 2 more times this week to say hi. And sending you all of my love. And until next time, please remember what a valuable treasure you are. Bye for now.